Hey guys, what's going on? I'm back with another video. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday. It's that time of the week again where we're going to go through all the football games that are going on this week. It's week 9. I can't believe it. Time's just been flying by. So as usual, like we do every Wednesday, go through all the games, give you my picks, prediction, discussion, hot takes, hot air, whatever you want to call it about who I think is going to win. So today's November 1st, of course, the day after October 31st, Halloween. But not only that, it's the day after the trade deadline, which means there's no more trades. Really overall, I don't think there was any kind of like earth-shattering trade that's really going to change the season of any team. I mean, obviously I had that Jimmy Garoppolo trade reaction video because I just could not believe that. Still kind of can't. But for the most part, we are kind of where we were. I think every team that's, gonna make it will, and teams that are 0-9, like the Browns and the 49ers, probably aren't gonna, let's just say they're not making a Super Bowl run. But really, other than that, just kind of business as usual. So we'll go ahead and get on with the picks. So Thursday night games, what a not garbage. Like it's not. It could be the Browns and 49ers, but I mean, come on. Like this is just. We talk about a bland matchup. So tomorrow night we get the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. Obviously, the Buffalo Bills are a better team. Getting Benjamin from Carolina, I think that's a trade that definitely helps them out. I mean, overall, I forgot the Buffalo Bills are 5-2. Like because I'm so used to them just crapping their pants down the stretch that I totally forgot that they're 5-2. I think the Patriots are 6-2. The Steelers and Chiefs are also 6-2. So I mean, they're right there. They're actually right in the conversation. I mean, I guess 5-2. They actually have the same record. I guess if they missed a game, now they'll get caught up as far as the math goes, because I know New England and Pittsburgh are actually both off this week. So as far as the math goes, they're actually, excuse me, they actually have the same record. So they're actually right in the conversation. It's kind of hard to believe. It's kind of a team that snuck up on you. But yeah, getting Benjamin from Carolina at the trade deadline, I think is something that certainly. It certainly helps, I think, especially if you want to make a playoff run, the more depth you can have at receiver and running back, really, or I think are the two most important places you want to have depth, because, you need to be able to score points. If you're your D-line, you got to shuffle guys around, O-line, you got to shuffle guys around. But you need depth at receiver and running back. You need to be able to just score. That's what it becomes about late in the season, just depth, scoring, and just bodies. That's really what it is. Just you need players. That's really. I can't tell you how many teams that were good at the beginning of the season get done in at the end of the season because too many injuries. It happens every year. So I like that trade for them. The Jets, on the other hand, 3-5, still far. People thought they were going 0-16. So there's really only so much, and they really, I think, beat everybody's expect. Come on, nobody thought they'd be 3-5. I think they were like 2-1 or 3-2, or they were really good. Not really good, but they were really proving everybody wrong for a while. So I think they're beating everybody's wildest expectations. But nonetheless, I don't think that's. It's not. They'll be competitive, but it's not enough to really to beat the Bills. I don't think. I like the Bills this season, but I guess. If they keep going the way they're going now, they're a playoff team. But we'll have that conversation later. Anyways, I got the Bills winning this game. Next game up, Sunday, 1 p.m. Two teams I'm just horribly disappointed in: the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. So the Atlanta Falcons, it's not quite a Super Bowl hangover like the one the Panthers had. I guess last year. I guess, last year, a year ago. After Super Bowl 50, it's not like that bad of a hangover because I think the Panthers really set the example for a Super Bowl hangover. That was a Super Bowl hangover. So fresh off the heels of that, I think the Falcons, and there were all kinds of articles I think Matt Ryan wrote in the Players Tribune about how they, how aware they are of what happened and how they don't want to have a Super Bowl hangover. So they're definitely aware of it. Whether or not they avoided it is two separate things. So 4-3, lost a bunch of games in a row. Just close. And the other thing you have to remember, the really troubling sign is they've got all their players for the most part, all their weapons, all their high-flying, fast-moving, Julio Jones. That team goes 100 miles an hour. So all that stuff's there. What it comes down to is the play calling on offense sucks. The offensive coordinator blows. If you watch the New England game with the fog, they're getting nothing with the run, and they keep running the ball. It's those types of decisions. It's not really personnel. I mean, the personnel is the same personnel for the most part that got them to the Super Bowl last year. It's just psychological. It's play calling. It's coaching. It's all those things. And I'm not a huge fan of Quinn. I'm really not. He's just got that whole Pete Carroll, ex Pete Carroll coach. Because of course Quinn was in Seattle with Pete Carroll. He's just got that whole thing going for him, which I can't stand. It's like, yeah, man, we're just gonna go out there and we're just gonna have to act. We're gonna need big plays. That whole horrible attitude, like just head in the clouds, ridiculous, like 1960s friggin' why am I blanking on it? Woodstock frame of mind. Like that whole thing is soft. That's why Pete Carroll called a pass at the end of that Super Bowl. They lost to the Patriots, and it's why the Falcons kept running the damn ball in this game. Why Quinn didn't call a run in the Super Bowl, and they got backed up out of field goal range and lost that to the Patriots. It's why they kept calling runs in this game and lost to the Patriots. Just a bunch of people crap their pants and lose to the Patriots from the sounds of it. But nonetheless, I mean, that's kind of what's going on with that team. Carolina, on the other hand, is a different story. I think everything, for the most part, what it has to do with is, it's not so much like Seattle where the whole team is the quarterback. It's not like it's all Russell Wilson, or I guess in this case Cam Newton. By the way, just full disclosure, I'm not a big Cam Newton fan. I got problems with this guy. This guy, he is soft. That guy, I cannot, I don't want to say I hate him because that's strong and it's kind of ridiculous, but I don't like Cam Newton. I mean, first of all, that whole 2015 season, just a cocky, taking selfies on the sideline. That whole thing, I wanted to see that team get blown the hell out by. I wanted to see Von Miller just friggin' demolish the Panthers, which he did. But so you ended up getting to see it. But Cam Newton not diving on the ball in the Super Bowl, the whole cocky attitude, the things that he says, I don't mind seeing that team lose. And I think that just that type of locker room where you got that going on is poisonous. But nonetheless, I feel like as far as just looking at the X's and O's, the Atlanta Falcons can match up much better with they got the weapons. Carolina doesn't. Getting rid of Benjamin there. I mean, not that that's going to make or break anything, but just they got the weapons. Carolina doesn't, and Atlanta needs the damn wins. They need the wins because they have to. You can't have the Super Bowl hangover. You just can't do that. What that does to your team. They know they're so aware of it. They know they need to win. It's all there. They got the weapons. Like Atlanta winning this game. It's way too many words for talking about these two teams. Anyways, let's move on. Next game up, another 1 o'clock Eastern game on Sunday. The Colts and the Texans. Texans are going to win. Get the hell out of here. Colts suck. By the way, a World Series Game 7 tonight. Tune in for that. Let's go Houston. Let's go Astros. That's right. Want Houston to win tonight. Let's watch. Can't wait. What a series. It's been an all-time great series. Anyways, let's stay focused. Next game up, Cincinnati Bengals, Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, first of all, Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't care what I mean. Like that team is just perennially, and it seems like just permanently not interesting. Talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans, like both of those teams, I don't know what it is. They're both in the AFC South. I confuse both of them, and nobody's interested in either of these teams. They both. I mean, there's not really. I mean, there's really not more of I don't know how you say it. Just a nothing team. Not nothing, but just a team nobody's interested in watching, like those two teams. But anyways, the Bengals and the Jaguars, both teams suck. I got the Jaguars just because their record's better, 4-3 versus 3-4. Next up, New Orleans Saints and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers, of course, Jameis Winston down with injuries for a few weeks now. I think he started practicing or warming up or whatever. I don't think he's playing this week. It's not really going to make a difference. The New Orleans Saints start off, by the way, let's give them a lot of credit. They're 5-2. They start off 0-2. Their defense sucks. Horrible. Giving up big play after big play, run the ball, pass the ball. Friggin' walk by them. It doesn't. They were giving everything up. 0-2. It seems like, because they've started 0-2. They've had 0-2 starts, 0 whatever starts all these years. It seems like it's just gonna be another season. And somehow the defense starts clicking. They figure things out. Drew Brees is Drew Brees, and all of a sudden that's a real contender in the NFC. So if you look at contenders in the NFC, I go Eagles. I go Saints. I think Seattle's going to be in the conversation, even though I think, that whole team is Russell Wilson, which, as we learned with the Packers, if your whole team's your quarterback, it's not really a sustainable situation. But they're in it, and I think it's gonna be an exciting postseason, because as far as the NFC goes, all the teams in the playoffs for the most part this season, if the playoffs are right now in the NFC, are all teams that weren't in it before, except for maybe Seattle or Dallas or whatever. But the Eagles, the Saints, all that. I think it's it. Whereas the AFC, it's the same damn teams. It's the Patriots, the Steelers, the Chiefs, which whatever. But nonetheless, I think it makes it more interesting. But anyways, I got the Saints winning this game. Next game up, New York Giants, LA Rams. By the way, here's another team. The LA friggin' Rams are in it. Holy smoke. The Rams. The Rams. The ones that were in St. Louis and they sucked. They moved to LA last year and they sucked. And all of a sudden they're 5-2. They're just 5-2. That's the kind of season we're having. The Bills are 5-2. The Rams are 5-2. The Saints are 5-2. Pretty much, I mean, there's really not many teams that aren't 5-2. There's a lot of 5-2 going around this year. It's really, I mean, nobody would have predicted that. And nobody would have predicted the Giants 1-6. A lot of these things nobody would have predicted. But anyways, I got the Rams winning this game. The Giants suck. So I'll give this one to the Rams. Next game, Philadelphia Eagles, Denver Broncos. So the Philadelphia Eagles D-line is almost as scary as Denver's D. Well, okay, they're not. Philly's defense is pretty darn good. It is pretty good. Carson Wentz is playing like Brett Favre, getting friggin' rushed and hurried and hit, and he's slinging it, getting the kid's unbelievable. So I really like that. It's 7-1. Now here's the other thing I want to say, and I'm not crapping on Philly at all, because I love the Philadelphia Eagles. Strong, passionate fan base, all that stuff. But if you look at who the Eagles have beat, there's some questions there. So if we just pull up, type in Eagles, and we just look at who they've played. You got Redskins, they won. The Chiefs, who nobody would. The Chiefs in week 2, by the way. The Chiefs have kind of gotten worse, but Chiefs in week 2, they lost that game. So the one team, and then they played Giants, Chargers, Cardinals, Panthers, Redskins, 49. All those teams are far beneath them. Some of them really suck. Like the one team that they lost to is the one team that's really good, and was even better then than they are now, which is kind of concerning. I mean, 7-1 is great, but if it's 7-1 against bad teams, it doesn't really tell you a whole lot. But nonetheless, I mean, just looking at them, they're a good team. They're going to compete. So. And they're good enough to beat Denver, whose offense, it is bad. So you had, I think, Brock Osweiler starting again. Remember that? Remember him? Remember this guy? Brock Osweiler. He's in Denver, right? He takes over for Manning in 15 when he goes down with an injury. Steers the ship the right way. He actually looks pretty good for the most part. And he was actually in Denver for a couple years before that, at least. Manning comes back. They win the Super Bowl. Osweiler goes to Houston. They say, screw that. Goes back to Denver, gets all his money, and gets traded to Cleveland because Denver doesn't want to pay, and ends up back in Denver. Maybe one of those is in the wrong order, but you get the idea. Oh, God. When you're going to that guy for your quarterback, that's a problem. So you got... Tom Savage and Trevor Siemian, as far as they could put them both out there at the same time. It's the same guy. I'm convinced it's the same guy. It's the same quarterback. Not one's really much better. It's kind of the same guy with the same strengths and weaknesses and the same problems for the most part. So now you're starting Brock Osweiler. And not only that, C.J. Anderson. Just the whole, they can't score points. Their defense is terrific, but they can't score points. That's why they're 3-4. So I think the Eagles are going to roll right through that team. I'm going to be pretty pissed if this game's in Denver. Every matchup that's going to give them a problem somehow always ends up in Denver. I don't know why. It always ends up there. Every game where it's a problem No, it's in Philly. All right, thank God. Like that's because, like, for instance, the week after this week, they're playing the Patriots, and it's in Denver. Like somehow it's always in Denver. I don't know, which is one of the hardest places to play. But anyways, I think the Eagles winning this game. Next game up: Baltimore Ravens, Tennessee Titans. 4-4. The Ravens are 4-4. Titans are 4-3. I don't know what to make of this. I thought the Ravens were going to be better than they are, but they aren't. It depends if Joe Flacco's coming back. I'll give them the win. If they're not, then forget it. He will play. Okay, yeah, so he is playing this week. All right, I'm gonna give this to Baltimore just because Baltimore is a team you just don't want to piss off. So I got Baltimore winning this game. Next we have Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers. So the 49ers, let's talk about this Jimmy G trade. So Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, I did a whole video on it, so I don't go too much into it. You can check that video out. It was a live stream, a live video. This right after he got traded, live reaction in that video. He's not playing this week. But overall, they're 0-8, so it's not like it matters. It's just about him getting used to the system. I think the 49ers have some players, and they have some draft picks. Well, they just traded their second rounder to New England for Jimmy G, which is like, I don't know what happened with New England. I don't know what happened with the Patriots. Like, what? Jimmy G, I think, is worth so much more than... All right, well, maybe not so much more. Second rounder, it's like a first and a second and a third, a second and a play. Like, I don't know how that happened. But anyways, he's a 49er now. I think that, you can come up with all the reasons why you want for why they made that trade. I don't think New England wanted to trade him. I just think that as far as the timeline goes, as far as, like, Brady's 40, but he's not playing. Like, he's playing really well. And Jimmy G's contract's up. So it's like, do we stick with Brady or do we trade him even though he's still good and go with Jimmy G, who we think is pretty good, looks pretty good. And that was kind of the decision. And just like, for instance, like if they could have drafted Jimmy G this year instead of 2014, like 3 years later, it would be perfect because you get the last 3 years of Brady and then you start Jimmy G. But unfortunately, he been here for a few years and his contract's up. You couldn't hold on to both. And now he's in San Francisco. So San Francisco, I mean, it's not like he's the magic elixir that's going to fix that team. They're 0-8 for a reason. Obviously, quarterback play has sucked. It's been awful. It's horrible the whole season. But really, for the most part, I think that they can build around him. They can really just have that's the problem. Like, I think the quarterback, and you can come up with all the dumb, analogies that you want or quotes or expressions or whatever. The quarterback's the rudder of the ship. Like a team, if the ship is full of really good players, but there's no rudder, it's still a rudderless ship. Like, what is it supposed to, like, nothing's making it click. Nobody's running the team. You know what I mean? It's just a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing. So it starts with first of all, it starts with stable ownership, and then you need a front office that has a clue. Then you need a quarterback that can play. Like, that's really the foundation of any good team, which is why the Patriots have been so good for so long, is they've got stable ownership. They've got a front office that, for the most part, really knows what it's doing and strategizes, and they've had Tom Brady. So now you got Jimmy G. You can, in Seattle's another team, I guess, that's like that. It's a pretty good situation as far as leadership goes, except Pete Carroll. I don't know. This guy's high, it seems like sometimes. But, God. Anyways, I feel like they can build around Jimmy G. Like, they know this guy can play. We're building around Jimmy G. And so I feel like that team, it's not going to be this season, but going into next season, that's a team that I think can compete now. But as far as this game goes, Jimmy G's not playing, and it's not like it matters. Both of these teams are just both of these teams are taking on water. So they've really hit the rocks. But I've got the 49ers winning this game just because the team's got something to be excited about now. So 49ers. Whereas Arizona, it's like the complete opposite story. So next game up, Seattle Seahawks, Washington Redskins. So the Redskins is 3-4, Seahawks 5-2. The Seahawks had an absolute thriller against the Texans. It was like I think they won like 42-39, 41-38. It was an absolute shootout. Deshaun Watson, what a play! That guy he can ball. That kid, he can ball. Absolutely, no. Seattle's strength is their defense, traditionally, in Russell Wilson. Deshaun Watson put up like 38 or 40 points or whatever on that defense. So Russell Wilson played his ass off, pulled plays out of like miracle plays he was pulling off, and they could have lost that game a lot of ways, and they were behind in the fourth quarter. Seattle eventually won. I feel like if the last possession went, if it went Seattle, Houston would have won. Like if they had the last possession, or it was such a close game. So the defense really isn't. If Deshaun Watson's putting up almost 40 points on you, you really can't praise the defense. Not that Deshaun Watson's bad. Just if you give up 40 points, it's a problem, no matter who it is. And then at the same time, excuse me, the Redskins are a team that's like how do I say this? I think they're a really good team, but up to a point. Like they're really good up to like a certain level. Like they can go score 24 points every week or so, but if the other team scores 26, like it seems like that's what, like there's no week where they're just shut out or no week where they just suck. It seems like they always compete and they can play, and they got playmakers. It's just they don't end up being as good. And I feel like I got the Redskins winning this week just because Seattle like giving up almost 40, and Russell Wilson, I'm going to bail him out. That's just not sustainable. But anyways, next game up, game of the week right here. Well, let me just hold on. Before I start blowing all this hot air. Game of the week. Yep, game of the week right here. Dallas Cowboys, Kansas City Chiefs. So the Dallas Cowboys, they won last week. They're turning things around. Cowboys are 4-3. KC's 6-2. So Kansas City, they lose Eric Berry, who I think's had a huge impact. I mean, that guy set the tone on defense. Losing him, like it's you almost sometimes you don't really want to start off a season playing really, really well. Like have nowhere to improve and just think you're going to win every week, because no matter what happens is you got injuries, you got trade, just things happen over the course of a season where if you don't really have anywhere to improve, the only place you have to go is down, which is not that the Chiefs have really gone down all that much, but some airs come out of the balloon. And I've said this before, losing Eric Berry and just struggling on defense. Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator, has been criticized. I mean, really, a lot of the criticism I've read is like by like these diehard Chiefs fans, so it's like really not that objective. But the defense has struggled and the offense has cooled off a little bit. Dallas, on the other hand, they had some problems, but now it seems like they're kind of getting it together. Ezekiel Elliott, that's the whole other thing. So if Ezekiel Elliott's not playing in this game, which I wish for the love of God they would you're getting suspended 6 games, buddy. Like you get appeals this, and then they help them, and then the league appeals it, and they go the other way. Like eventually, even if it gets reduced or whatever, you're gonna get suspended eventually. Just serve it so you can come back for the playoffs. I don't know if he is playing. Let me see. I don't think he is playing this week. Let me just make sure. I'm gonna get my facts straight here, because this is obviously a huge difference. So they just filed an appeal, I guess. So it remains to be seen if we'll even get a decision before the game. But I feel like whether he plays or not doesn't have a lot to do. Like I think Dak Prescott said today or recently that I think he said like the expectation is the same. Well, of course the expectation is the same, that you're going to figure out how to win. But there's expectations and there's reality. If the reality is, because Elliott, even though I can't stand that guy, I cannot stand it. I hope he gets this. I can't stand like just those cocky play. Like for instance, so Elliott does the stupid, gotta feed him the ball, gotta feed him the ball, like that whole stupid thing. What he does off the field is abhorrent. I think just players like that. And then really, what did it for me? Well, that other thing he did, what he's done off the field, did it for me. But when they got completely blown the hell out, but not blown up, but when Denver shut down the Dallas Cowboys, like when Von Miller was eating Ezekiel Elliott's lunch, not only Von Miller, but that Denver D-line, like Ezekiel Elliott ran for like -4 yards, almost like LeBron. Not that he's anywhere near LeBron, but he just shuts it down. Like that's the problem with these players. There's no compete. Like if they're not running for 200 yards, they just want to shut it down. And they just don't want to. You go on the sideline and you put a hood over your head and put a towel on you. Like you either want to ball or just shut it down. Like you have no compete, no leadership. Like the same thing with the Panthers, right? Cam Newton, he fumbles the ball. Oh, I don't want to fall. I hate that in sports. I just can't stand it. So, anyways, it looks like he could be out this week. Whether he's out or not, it's Kansas City. Like that's the thing. Like, if you were playing a lesser team, a team that wasn't as good as Kansas City, maybe it would matter whether or not Elliott's there, but they're just so good that, like, even if he is there, you know, the Chiefs are going to do what the Chiefs do. Something just popped up. I just read the 49ers said they might not even play Garoppolo this year, like the whole year. Wow. Maybe, I don't know, what is it? Like they don't want to get injured? Who knows? So anyways, whatever, that has nothing to do with this game. I don't know. I don't know which way to go on this game. I mean, I feel like, man, it's kind of equally matched because I feel like the Cowboys offense, you know, given the way KC's defense is played, you know, with Beasley and Prescott, like I don't know. It's a close. Like, I almost want to say it's a tie, but that's stupid. Like, come on, you can't say that. But I don't know. Just because, all right, if this was a week ago, I would have picked the Chiefs. But because it seems like Dallas is the trend line is up, I'm gonna go with Dallas in a close. Like, this thing could. It's not going to go to overtime. Like, one team's just going to show up and the other one won't. It won't be a blowout either, but I got Dallas winning like 27-24. Just a close game. Yeah. All right, next game out, Oakland Raiders, Miami Dolphins. So the Dolphins are 4-3. They just traded Jay Ajayi, which that's even more confusing than the Garoppolo trade. Like, I don't know why you would move him. Like, I feel like there's an injury that they know about with him that they're not really saying, which, I mean, the trade could get reversed or, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. But, I mean, like, it just, something's up. That's a suspicious-ass trade to make because you're 4-3, but it's the Dolphins. Like, they're not going to be there in the end. But he was, like, one of their best, Ajayi was one of their best players. I mean, he was really... I mean, you got Jay Cutler, who got hurt again, shocker, was their quarterback. Like, Ajayi was, for the most part, you know, a lot of, if not the majority of their offense. Like, that's what you'd watch. Nobody's watching the Dolphins to see Ndamukong Suh play dirty or Kiko Alonso throw dirty hits, which I can't stand both of those players. Like, I don't know what it is about the Dolphins defense, but it's been this way for a few years now. The Dolphins defense plays dirty. When I say dirty, I don't mean like they're good. No, dirty as in like cheap. Like cheap shots, low blow. Like speaking of Garoppolo, I know that Kiko Alonso hurt him, took him out a few games last year. Ndamukong Suh's always been dirty. Can't stand Dom. I freaking hate Ndamukong Suh. What a dirty player. Ndamukong Suh, Greg Hardy, Vontaze Burfict, like they all deserve each other. Put them all on an island, all three of them. Can't stand them. Dirty players. But in the same thing with Kiko Alonso too, another person I just can't say. Just dirty player, bad attitude, cheap shots. It's that whole Miami defense. And so what starts to happen is you get later in the season, they say, all right, well, you know, we're not making a playoff run. I mean, even though Miami, I think they were in the playoffs at least, and I think they played a playoff game last year. I mean, they're 4-3, I guess. I mean, no, they don't have a stable quarterback situation, so they got no hope for that. But that's the kind of situation where, all right, we got nothing to play for. They start playing dirty, want to take guys out. So Oakland, you know, did they win 3-5? I feel like they must have lost last week. Let me just check. Holy, yeah, they got blown the hell out by the Bills. Yeah, I must not even been paying attention to that game. Wow. Yeah, screw that. Yeah, I got the Raiders winning this game just because screw the Dolphins and the way they've been playing. And they're 3-5. They need a save face. So, last game, last but not least, well, I don't know. Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers. So, it's the Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers who have... Good go. What did they do last week? What happened to them? Yeah, they lost 26-17 to the Saints after losing 23-10 to the Vikings, which is the week that they lost Rodgers. And they were off last week. So yeah, and then you got Detroit. Yeah, so I got Detroit winning this game just because the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers, it's like I said, it's a rudderless ship. So yeah, so I got the Lions winning this game. That's really what this comes down to, is they don't have Aaron Rodgers. That's really the whole thing. All right, guys, that's going to do for this video. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, sort of thing. That's going to do it for this week's picks. We'll see how things shake out. But other than that, until next time, that'll do it for this one, guys. I'll see you next week with next week's picks. Quick announcements. Call of Duty World War II is coming out Friday, so we'll have all sorts of live streams, videos of that. But other than that, until then, that'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching.